Thank you very much, Prasannatmananda, and good morning, everybody. It is a very important opportunity and interesting opportunity also to speak from the place where I live and to speak to the audience who are all scattered, definitely in the Bay Area and also in some other places. And because of the technology, this thing is happening, and it is a new experience for us also, especially for me, definitely. And the subject that I have chosen, more facts about meditation, because it is a sort of series of talks, or 2-3 talks at least, that I am giving here. And I have dealt before this talk, before the title of this talk, some facts about meditation I have told, and now I have chosen this more fact about meditation. And meditation, as you know, I believe that all of you know and familiar with meditation, and some of you definitely, some of you and most of you are practicing meditation also. Some of you must be doing it for a long time. Some of you may be longer than me also. I am doing meditation since last 50 years. So, and definitely there are elder persons than me who are also doing meditation for a longer period. And definitely there are some people who are doing meditation for quite some time. And the topic of meditation is very important. Important in a sense that means it is becoming very common practice for a mass of a great number of people. You know, this virus is spreading in a viral way. The word viral previously was limited to our internet only, but now viral in its own, what is called, own incarnation, as it is called, original incarnation, it has attacked us. So naturally the word viral has become very common. And some years ago, probably 5-6 years ago, it started with practice of yoga. Yoga, as you know, started in India, and then it was being practiced by those who are interested. But now you will find yoga is practiced by a large number of people. Large number in a sense that it is said that we have in India population about what is called 3 times of this country. And it is said that in this country, a number of people who practice yoga, that means the exercise yoga, Hatha yoga as it is called, more than the people that practice in India. So it has become so popular, and in today's world, it has become viral. And because of this real viral, actually meditation is also going to be viral. The reason is this, that it is being recommended. When this type of calamity comes, naturally people need to be advised how to cope up with this situation. And amongst other things, that's like what is called putting the mask, then keeping social distance, washing the hands. Then also when we are they are also advising to stay at home. And staying at home and not doing too much activities, outside activities, really is quite stressful. Those who are not accustomed, those who are old and infirm, diseased, or voluntarily stays at home, for them it is an opportunity. That means they feel very happy. But those who are accustomed to going out, accustomed means definitely you have to go out for your living, for your what is called social activities, and for your studies. So you cannot really avoid going out. So when all those things are really closed and you have to stay at home, so those who are accustomed to going out, naturally they feel stressed. And for coping with the stress, it has been advised, even by CDC, that means the supreme authority about our health in this country, you can say, they have stated that yes, you can really try or practice meditation. So in that sense, I am saying that meditation is becoming viral, if it is not already viral. But its effect is good. That is why it is not really coming to a picture or in the media as such. And meditation, more facts. By more facts, I mean that since you are accustomed to meditation, I presume, and naturally there are some aspects of meditation that also needs to be we can really thought about those type of things that are associated with meditation. In our order, that means those who are followers of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Holy Mother, Sarada Devi, we do spiritual practice. And in spiritual practice, we are advised that, well, you take some holy name, chosen ideal, repeat the name, at the same time do the meditation on the chosen ideal. That is a general practice. Probably it is a practice of other sects also. And we do that, and our purpose is really fixed. That means we know that why we are doing this repetition of name and meditation, and definitely for the realization of God or reaching God in different ways. We say that, well, after our death, we shall go to Ramakrishna Loka, or on the mother's lap, or we shall get liberation. All those things are the goal of our spiritual practice. And not only that, if you remember, Sri Ramakrishna has said that those who come to me, it is their last birth. That means they will get liberation that is assured by Sri Ramakrishna. So naturally, we diligently try to follow the instructions that are given to us, which originally, if you can say, came from Sri Ramakrishna himself. Sri Ramakrishna himself, in a sense, that when Sri Ramakrishna taught how to do spiritual practice and do meditation to attain or to realizing or to attain what is called self-realization. So that tradition is being followed meticulously even in our days. That means it will be followed as long as what is called it remains effective and people are interested. So in that way, my point is this, that we are really geared for the self-realization. That means in our order, those are followers of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Of course, I'm not saying that others are not, others are also doing, but we are definitely, that means we can say that if somebody asks why you are doing spiritual practice, we say that yes, definitely we want, after death, we want to go to Sri Ramakrishna or have liberation, or what is called, it is in the hands of the God of Sri Ramakrishna, whatever he does after death, we shall accept that. So in different ways, we express that definitely some higher purpose is there, spiritual purpose is there. But when meditation goes viral, you cannot really, you're not certain what will be the effect. That means with what purpose, what will be the end of meditation, you can say. Definitely, it has been advised for what is called coping up with stress. That means if you practice meditation, it has been found scientifically, that means in the laboratory or in the groups, it has been found that yes, it has got a good effect on blood pressure or anxiety or stress. In that way, it has come down, and it is being advised by or prescribed by the doctors also. That means specialist doctors will say that if you are suffering from this anxiety, do meditation, practice meditation. It will lessen your anxiety. Or if you are stressful and you do meditation, and it will lessen your stress. So in that way, it has been found. Otherwise, actually, it will not be accepted. And as I told you, that it is recommended by CDC also. That is why I'm saying that it is becoming viral, if not already. Now let us go a little bit about the technique of meditation. And technique of meditation, when I look to the instructions of our direct disciples, and we accept them, that they are all perfect in meditation. The reason is this, in case of Swami Vivekananda, it is well recorded that Sri Ramakrishna himself, that means his teacher, Guru, Sri Ramakrishna himself has said that yes, you have attained to the highest realization through meditation. Those stories are there. Stories means records are there that we can really find out in the life of Swami Vivekananda. And we presume, because a teacher like Sri Ramakrishna, other direct disciples, especially we are mostly look to other monastic disciples as their teacher, and they also taught meditation in their own term. So we can also presume that they are also a realized person. That means there is no doubt, I should not say, we can accept that they are really a realized person. So naturally their instructions are also very useful to us. Otherwise, ordinary person who is doing a practice of meditation for some time and instructing others, there must be some limitation, because they have not reached the last point of meditation, that means self-realization. So there might be some sort of, not flaw, but limitation probably will be the proper word. But definitely for the persons who have the highest realization and giving the instructions are supposed to be highest. That means it is definitely lead us to the highest realization, we can presume. And if we cannot reach, so it will be our limitation, not their limitation. In that way also we can say. So whatever it may be, I tried to find out about meditation, what the direct disciples have said about meditation. And we find that most of them, except Swami Vivekananda, all the instructions that are given by other direct disciples are what is called directed towards realization. That means some people, most of the disciples or their students came to them or asked them or wrote to them asking why I'm not having what is called uninterrupted meditation, or different difficulties that are coming for in my meditation. So all those things, they actually, through their instructions, they try to solve. But the point is that they never dealt with other different aspects of meditation that Swami Vivekananda has elaborated in his talks. As we know that Swami Vivekananda wrote one book which is known as Raja Yoga. And this Raja Yoga is a sort of basic book of meditation on which actually all the meditation books or all the meditators or teachers of meditation take help. Because this book of meditation was compiled up, when Swami Vivekananda gave two series of talks. One series was given in New York, another series was given in London. So they were combined together and they are formed in the book of Raja Yoga. And incidentally, this book Raja Yoga was published during the time of Swami Vivekananda's, when Swami Vivekananda was alive. That means he had the opportunity of editing this book, going through this book, and actually in that way you can say there is no ambiguity about what had been said in that book. So it is an authority. That means what he has said, actually he meant that, and he experienced that also, because as I told you, that means he was an experiencer. That means many times he had the opportunity of having the highest realization or reaching the highest point, as it is called, Nirvikalpa Samadhi in what is called in meditation term. So what he has said about meditation, as I'm saying, definitely is useful for the spiritual personality, those are seeking for self-realization. And also he has dealt in general about meditation also. Probably some of the present day meditator will not be interested or may not be knowing also that there is the goal of meditation. And for them also it is very helpful. So what he has said in general about meditation is very interesting. So I shall go through what he has said about meditation, to a few of his sayings, and then actually I shall go to some aspects of meditation, which is a sort of free thinking. As I said that meditation is going idle, so there will be different aspects of meditation that will pop up, or different experiences will pop up when people will be practicing meditation, and that also we need to know, and we need to place them in proper position. For that also it is it will be good to know them. So let me recount a few sayings of Swami Vivekananda about meditation. So he says, the greatest thing is meditation. It is the nearest approach to spiritual life, the mind meditating. So he has given that the state of the mind. Mind has different states, and the greatest state, that means best state of mind, is meditation. So it is the supreme state. That means other state, that means when you're what is called thinking or reading or talking, mind is working. There is no doubt about that. And definitely those who are intelligent, intellectual, and specialist in their subjects, so there is display of intellect and all those things. And all those things are there, mind is working. But he is telling that the best of the state of mind is meditation. That means when mind is really quiet. So he's saying it is the one moment in our daily life that we are not material, the soul thinking of itself. Material means, that means when the mind is not really outgoing. Outgoing means, that means mind, those who have little knowledge of our concept of mind, mind actually is turned outside. Outside means it is going through our senses, like ear, what is called nose, eyes. In that way, mind is going outside and into perceiving things, and that is the what is called the function of the mind. And when we are closing our senses, suppose we are in a quiet place and there is no disturbances, and I close my eyes, so inside the mind also there are thoughts, and those thoughts are also outgoing. That means mind is also perceiving something. So it is not really self-settled as such. So these two distractions are always there in the mind, that we know. So, but in meditation, actually, he is saying the soul thinking of itself. So these two types of distractions, actually, we stop, and then actually we think of the mind itself. That means it becomes self-settled. Of course, it is very difficult. It doesn't happen, but our goal is to make the mind settle on itself. So, so the soul thinking of itself, free from all matter, this marvelous touch of the soul. So this is the supreme condition that is achieved in meditation. That means mind thinks of itself and settles on itself. And when it settles completely, actually become self-realized. That is a very simple way of saying, but it is definitely very difficult and requires a lot of practice. Then again, in the same tone, he is saying the greatest help to spiritual life is meditation. In meditation, we divest ourselves of all material conditions and feel our divine nature. We do not depend upon any external help in meditation. That is also very important to know. Sometimes we feel that if we eat something or do something or read something or hear something, probably meditation will be helpful for meditation. Or meditation will be good. That means mind will be settled appropriately. But they are definitely helpful than other things, definitely which you are doing. But it is not that they actually cause the mind to settle on itself. So mind has to settle on itself by itself. That is the point. So in that way, we practice spirituality, and spiritual experiences may come. Then another quote I shall say, and then I shall move to some other aspect of the meditation. He's saying, by continuing to watch, that means in meditation, when those who have done meditation, they know that we have to watch our mind because we want to self-settle the mind. So naturally, our thoughts are coming. When we sit, closing our eyes in a quiet place, so naturally outside distractions are controlled if we can do that. And then actually we struggle with the control of the mind, which is really thinking of different thoughts. So by continuing to watch in that way, the mind becomes calm. That means when different thoughts in our mind, when I close our eyes and watching the mind, different thoughts come to us. And the mind becomes, by continuing to watch in that way, the mind becomes calm, and there are no thought waves in it. These waves represent the thought activity of the mind. Those things that you have previously thought too deeply have transformed themselves into a subconscious current. And therefore, these come up in the mind in meditation. This is very interesting because we do not pay attention to what we are thinking or what the thoughts are coming into our mind. But Swami Vivekananda is saying the thoughts which have entered deeply, that means which have entered into the subconscious state, deep thoughts that actually pop up during type of meditation when you close your eyes and watch them. The rise of these waves or thoughts during meditation is an evidence that your mind is tending towards concentration. So instead of getting feeling disgusted because the mind is not being controlled, we have to think, or we have to understand that these thoughts that are coming, actually it is a step towards what is called control of the mind. That means those thoughts were deep, actually they are popping up, and in that way actually mind is going towards the what is called superconscious state. Sometimes the mind is concentrated on a set of ideas. This is called meditation with there's a oscillation. But when the mind becomes almost free from all activities, it melts in inner self, which is the essence of infinite knowledge, one and itself, its own support. So that is the ultimate what is called destination of watching the mind. When the thoughts are coming, they are subconscious, and when they are controlled, that means when it settles on few objects, that means the thoughts are really limited to a few, then actually we shall think of probably one for a long time, and ultimately the mind will become quiet. So this is the procedure. Sometimes we feel that mind is disturbed, but it is not really disturbed as such. We have to be patient. That is the point. How long these disturbances last, and the quality of disturbances. That means when it is being disturbed by a few thoughts, then actually we can presume that mind is proceeding towards more concentration. And then when actually the number of disturbances or type of disturbances gets limited to one only, then actually it is very good point, if you can say, but still it is not the highest point. Then actually we can go to our object of meditation, transform that thought or direct the thought to our object of meditation. So these are the stages we can see that from this statement we can conclude. Now the point is that there are why actually meditation, what is the mechanism? That means what happens to the mind when we meditate. So now, if you know that Swami Vivekananda has said, if you remember, how we acquire knowledge. Knowledge means any knowledge. That means suppose this is a book and I am seeing, and the knowledge came that this is a book. And he has given a very nice example that we see in Karma Yoga. The example, you probably remember the story about Newton. How Newton actually discovered the law of gravity. That means it is a discovery, and how that happened. So that gives an illustration how the mind actually works. So as the story goes, Newton saw that one apple from the tree when he was walking in the garden, and it fell on the ground. Then, and he was actually thinking about that subject, that means why they fall or whatever it may be. Then suddenly it occurred into his mind in a flash, that means there must be some power from the ground that actually drew it towards the ground. So apple actually did not fly into the sky, but it fell there. So there must be some force. So in that way, actually, he discovered then he did further experiments and then found out, yes, there is a force that is attracting, and that is he discovered as force of gravity. And in that way, he discovered it. Now, the point is that how the mind worked during this discovery. It worked in this way because he was thinking about the subject. And suddenly, in a flash, actually, it occurred to him that this is the way, actually, the apple has fallen. And then, actually, he further, it is of intuition, you can say, flash. In a flash, actually, it occurred to him. And in that way, he came to the truth. Then, of course, he established it through mathematical formulas and all those things. So the knowledge actually comes in that way. In a flash, actually, it comes. That means whenever we see something and recognize something that I'm seeing in front of the picture of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, how I recognize it. Because by seeing it, I have the thought that, yes, this is the picture that I've seen earlier. And in this way, I really recognize that this is the picture. So in a flash, actually, it comes. And that is called intuition. And this intuition, without this intuition, actually, we cannot really know anything. Knowledge comes through intuition. And there is an interesting saying, Swami Vivekananda also has said that, and also it is in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That means you cannot have knowledge, new knowledge actually, you can say in that way. All the knowledge is inside you. That means all the intuition is within you. And whenever you recognize something, it has definitely some past experiences which align in a proper way, and in that way you discover something. So in that way, actually, the things work. So it is a very profound statement that all knowledge is within you. Though we feel that it is coming from outside, but it is not coming from outside, but the intuitions actually align in such a way that in a flash, actually, we get the knowledge. So everything is inside. So in that way, it is happening. So this meditation actually is helpful in the, as it is said, for improvement, people call it, of this power of intuition. I shall go through one saying that I have collected about what is this intuition. Yes, this is from one of our Swamis who actually gave talks about on meditation, and in that way, it will be very helpful to understand what is the function of intuition and what is the meditation, what part is played by meditation in intuition. So he said, intuition, the power of direct vision, lies dormant in us. That means in everybody, that intuition is there. That power is within ourselves. It should be regained. Regained in a sense, in a supreme sense, that means ultimate intuition is the realization of true self. As I told you, that all the knowledge is within ourselves. Knowledge of ultimate reality, or God, if you say, is already within us, but it is covered, as it is said, and we have to discover it. And how we discover it? That means because there are disturbances which does not allow us to perceive that. That is, mind is so disturbed that we do not allow it to perceive. So if we can really remove those disturbances, then automatically, which is already within ourselves, that knowledge is within ourselves, will pop up. That means it will come out. So that is the mechanism, if you call it. It should be regained. Through that alone come the glimpses of the higher reality, R in capital. That means in that way, actually, if we can really improve that intuition by practice of meditation, then actually we shall be able to discover our true self, which is already within us. How to develop the higher power of intuition? Just watch how you enter into sleep and how you get out of it. This is what is called a new concept, or not a very common concept, probably some of you know, but definitely it is not a very well-known concept, that how to improve our intuition, or where to find out intuition, where to locate it. That means in our life, intuition is playing, but we cannot catch it. That means we do not know how it is functioning. But there is a way to figure out where is the intuition. So he's saying, just watch how you enter into sleep and how you get out of it. You'll find at first that sense organs are withdrawn back into the mind. So when you go to sleep, naturally, slowly, our mind withdraws from the senses. That means what we are hearing. So naturally, eyes are closed, so we are not seeing anything. And also all other perception that we have actually comes down. So in that way, it settles slowly from the sense organs, you can say. Then the thoughts die down, and you will just have a vague I consciousness that I am thinking, or I am going into sleep, or that I-ness actually remains only ultimately. Finally, this I merges in deep sleep. Suddenly, you do not know how, but suddenly you fall asleep. Then you, what is called, lose your consciousness, and you go into deep sleep. So these are the stages. That means step by step. We do not watch it, but these are the steps by which actually we lose our consciousness, I-ness, during at the time of deep sleep. Then when you wake up, the reverse happens. At first, the I consciousness emerges, and then this gets connected to thoughts, which arise in the mind and the objects around. So when you get up from the, probably the alarm clock So naturally, I perceive that sound, and in this process, actually, first I comes, that I perceive means I have become aware of I say myself, and then actually perceive the sound of the alarm clock. In that way, the steps are there. So just after waking up, there is a shadowy shadowy intermediate period when you retain pure eye consciousness for a split second. So from deep sleep to coming at the state of awakening, there is a stage. If you just watch or just give thought to that, and that is the state of what is called, is saying that is the state of pure consciousness. That means that is the state which actually we try to reach during at the time of meditation. Meditation has been said it is conscious sleeping. That means deep sleep is rather not meditation. Deep sleep has been compared to what is called, meditation has been compared to deep sleep, but with consciousness. So if you go to the deep sleep, then you lose consciousness. But there is a state when actually awake, there is a state when you are conscious. That means you are conscious about what is called full control of the mind. So it is not sleep actually, it is conscious sleep, people call it. From consciousness to waking state, you are coming. So there is a state which is really what is called eye consciousness is coming. So something of this pure awareness should be attained consciously during our waking hours. So this is the way we do, we try to reach in our what is called in meditation. That is the real task before the aspirant. We should attain to that plane where the dividing line between the light and darkness is very thin. So this is very interesting to know, and this has been this is a description how actually we what state actually we want to reach, and very approximate perception that we can really figure out during our day-to-day experiences. That means during the time of deep going to sleep and when, at the time of waking up. And it is corroborated by scriptures also. In Briharad Upanishad, actually, you'll see there is a dialogue between Yagnavalkya and Janaka. Janaka said, well, how actually people see things. Then Yagnavalkya said at daytime, sun is there, sun's light actually means everything that people see. So then Yagnavalkya said, when there is no sun at night, so he said that, well, after that, moon is there, moon's light actually means everything. And in that way, people see things. Then when the moon is not there, then the stars are there. So by starlight also it is possible to see things. That means in what is called in new moon time also, after some time, eyes get settled and you can see at least in a shadow, in a not a very thorough way, but definitely you can really see things during the dark night also. Then he says, suppose what is called, you are closed in a closed place, then there is no sky. So he says that at that time, how actually you will see? So that you just light a fire, and that light of fire will illumine everything, and you see. And then he is saying that there is no fire. Then how actually we see things? He said that, well, by sound also we can perceive things. That means if something makes a sound, it is a bell or something like that, you will be able to know its existence in that way. And ultimately, he's saying that if all those things are taken out, then how actually, how the thoughts, that means during the dream, actually, how do you see things? That means your eyes are closed, you're not conscious about things. How do you see things? So he's saying that by the illumination of the Atman. That means Atman is luminous and it illumines everything. So in that way, you come to the conclusion that yes, Atman has its own light, and by that light, actually, inside is illuminated. That means in what is called during the what is called during the time of a dream, we see things. So the point is that there is a state which actually gives illumination. That is Atman's own light. So this is the power of intuition actually. This is the what is called, this illumination is the power of intuition actually. That comes out. So this is the way you can say the mechanism of meditation happens, that Swami Vivekananda said in our Patanjali also it has been said. Now I would like to come to a general description of the meditation that Swami Vivekananda has said about meditation. As I told you, most of the direct disciples, Holy Mother, and even Swami Vivekananda himself, when they directed instructions for meditation, they are meant for what is called self-realization. But there are different aspects of meditation also that in the Raja Yoga, to the Raja Yoga you'll find, especially in the chapter of powers. Powers means what is called miraculous power, if you call it. And we, in our order, hate miracle because Ramakrishna said there are obstacles. Not only is Ramakrishna hated in such a way that we do not pay much attention to that also. That means it is really a despicable thing to study miracle or go for miracles, or if we see miracle is performed somewhere, we feel that they have to be shunned completely. But you cannot really deny them. That is the point. Deny in a sense, that means now, as I told you, multitude of people are doing meditation. Many people will, what is called, tumble on some experiences. And all of the experiences will not be for self-realization. So many things will come. That means many experiences will come. Definitely, they are not really unnatural. That is why in this yoga, that means Raja Yoga, Swami Vivekananda, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, when he elaborated, he has given proper explanation for them. That means, according to Patanjali, there are different powers that may come to a yogi. He himself, Patanjali himself also has said that, well, these are the obstruction for self-realization. There is no doubt about that. But these things may come. So a good knowledge about those things are also important. We should not really be surprised that they are there. That is the point. That is why at the beginning, that means the first sentence of the book Raja Yoga written by Swami Vivekananda says in the preface, since the dawn of history, various extraordinary phenomena have been recorded as happening amongst human beings. That means different types of phenomena. That means inexplicable. That means something has happened. There is no way that we can explain it. That means somehow something came to me, or something I could realize something. Suppose I could realize that in case of Swami Vivekananda, there is an incident. If you have read his life, that means one night he was sleeping, what is called in Belur. And in Belur actually he was sleeping, and suddenly he had one disciple, this not disciple, his brother disciple, Swami Prapannananda, was watching him because he was not well at that time. His health was not good, so he thought that if somebody is near him, if something is necessary at night, water or something like that, or a little fanning and all those things. So he was really serving him at that night. So Swami Vivekananda noticed that suddenly Swami Vivekananda woke up in the middle of night and said that I have a pain in my heart. And Swami Vivekananda thought that probably it might be something health issue. But Swami Vivekananda said, no, it is not like this. Some what is called calamity has happened somewhere. That is why I am feeling that pain. And later on in the next day, actually, it was in the newspaper, it came that in Fiji Islands, there was what is called a terrible earthquake actually has happened. So that feeling actually, Swami Vivekananda felt at night. The point is that he, being an adept in spirituality, that means in yoga, if you call it, so naturally he had the premonition. Premonition means that before we came to know, he actually perceived that what is called as calamity within himself. That means that pain came to him. So this is actually, there's an explanation for that. How actually he could feel the pain. Others did not feel anything until and unless they came to know about this calamity. So how actually this happened? So this is an example, but he is saying that extraordinary phenomenon. It is a sort of extraordinary phenomena that has that he experienced, and many people actually in the recorded in records will find that many people have experienced something which we cannot really have a good explanation why these things have happened. So witnesses are not wanting in modern times to attest to the fact of such events. That means even today also people say such and such miracles have happened or such and such things have happened. We really do not know why it had happened to me or to others. Even in societies living under the full blaze of modern science. That means even in this age of science also these things are happening and we cannot really explain them. That is the point. Then he says that the vast mass of such evidences is unreliable as coming from ignorant, superstitious, and fraudulent persons. In many instances, these so-called miracles are imitations. But what do they imitate? That is the point. That means there must be some example earlier which they are imitating. So the thing that they are imitating must be a real happening. So in that way, actually, you can see that there must be some root to this imitation. So that what is that root? So it is not the sign of a candid and scientific mind to throw overboard anything without proper investigation. So if you say that, well, that is superstition and what is called or something bogus, if you call it, then that is not really a sign of scientific mind. He's saying in this age of science, actually you should have proper explanation how to reject, why I reject it. You have to give an explanation. And that is why he's saying without proper investigation, we should not conclude that they are really fraudulent. That is the point. Surface scientists, unable to explain the various extraordinary mental phenomena, strive to ignore their very existence. That means superficial scientists, those who claim that I am scientist, I do not believe something which is not, which does not stand to reason, that is called superficial. But those who are real scientists, they will actually take into consideration and they will find out the root. And in that way, after that, actually, they will conclude. So that's Swami Vivekananda is pointing out. They are therefore more culpable than those who think that their prayers are answered by a being or beings above the clouds, or than those who believe that their petitions will make such beings change the course of the universe. That means those who do not believe in these miraculous things, that means God listens to our prayer or God has given this gift and all those things. So they are really more what is called, they are irresponsible, more irresponsible, as it is saying, than they actually believe them. That Swami Vivekananda is pointing out. So this is the beginning of the what is called Swami Vivekananda's Raja Yoga, meditation, book of meditation. So you see that meditation can lead to different types of powers, and Swami Vivekananda is definitely accepting it. And in his life also, we have seen that he, unknowingly or unknowingly also, there is some manifestation of his power in the life of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, and probably if you read the life, especially I remember Holy Mother Sarada Devi used to say that, well, if I think of somebody, next day he appears, or if he does not appear, probably I get a letter from that person. How that happens? That means we do not have that type of experience. So the point is that because of the purity of their mind, automatically, that means they do not have to make any effort, but those things are happening and they have watched it. Of course, they do not pay much attention to these things. That means they do not break their head to discover or become jubilant that these things are happening in my life. They are just casual things, and in that way, they what is called look to them. Now the point is this: there is a very nice statement, or is a part of a lecture given by one scholar that I have found, and he was as such a professor of philosophy. Probably he does the department of Calcutta University in philosophy department. His name was Dr. Nolini Brahma. And he gave a series of talk, Fundamentals of Religion. It was probably a sponsored talk that he had given. And in that talk, actually, he has dealt with it. We do not really expect that philosophers or scientists will believe these things, but he has emphatically said that that these miracles are evident in the lives of spiritual seekers, especially those who are what is called super in a sense. That means like avatar and incarnations or devotees like that. what is called Ishwar is like that. They are a part of their life. And not only that, he emphasizes that if those things are not there, actually, they will not be recognized also of the supreme spiritual personality. So he's saying in this way. It is very interesting to read because just recently his son actually passed away. He was in Fresno, and he was a professor in material science, I believe, but he passed away. So then it struck me that his father was a professor. Actually, all the brothers were very brilliant. His father was a philosopher, and once Swami Prapannananda told me that he had the opportunity of sharing the, what is called the platform with him in one meeting. So in that way, it occurred to me. So I just thought, let me see if we have some books written by him. So in that way, I discovered this book, Fundamentals of Religion. It is a series of talks, as I telling you. So in one place, he's saying this is page 131 of that book. It has become a fashion in modern age to condemn miracles and to regard them as wholly unconnected with anything really spiritual. So this is very true. That means definitely it should be like this, because those are spiritual seekers, they should shun them. There's no doubt about that. But still, the existence of this thing actually, he's saying, should not be ignored. That means it has to be taken into account. And he is giving his own argument. But it is to be seriously considered whether in this age of unbelief, the use and value of miracles should, instead of being thrown away, be sought to be established with a fresh vigor. So being a philosopher, he's saying that, well, there are miracles that may happen in spiritual life and that needs to be established. That means that has to be given a recognition, that he's saying. Contact with the source of all power and energy must result in the flowing of the absolute energy to the experiencer of the absolute. So those who actually reach the absolute, that means Brahma, he has said later on, Brahmavid Brahmayo Bhavati. So he's saying that if one reaches that state, if one becomes merged into Brahman, so all the powers, all aspects of the manifestation, that means existence, knowledge, bliss, and all those things will come to him. That means it will be a part of his personality, if you call it, if he survives, of course. Many people will not survive to experience those things, but those who survive, especially incarnations of God, they are always communicating with the ultimate reality. For them, it is natural. So he's saying, if this does not happen, it is a pseudo experience or a sham experience. That means if the manifestation of power is not there for a realized person, actually it is sham. That means his experience is false. He is really saying that. The Upanishads declare Brahma Veda Brahma Bhavati. That means one who knows Brahman verily becomes Brahman itself. The Vedanta holds that one cannot become Brahman unless one becomes first Ishvara. That means Ishvara means the manifestation of Brahman with powers. That means with form and powers, Ishvara. So he's saying, so it is a stage of highest realization. So that is acquires omnipotence like God himself. That means in the path of self-realization, highest realization, the stage of Ishvara will come, and Ishvara means all-powerful, omnipotent. And this is actually argument why actually he's giving the explanation. Then the transition from the individual jiva to the absolute Brahman must pass through the stage of God, Ishvara. This is a position definitely established by one of the what is called authentic author. His name is Appya Dikshita. He has Siddhanta Lesson book. There he has established this truth according to, of course, scriptures. If one becomes Brahman itself, one must become Ishvara also, because Brahman is not less than Ishvara in any case. That means manifested Brahman is Ishvara, so it is Brahman itself. The seeker of truth may not desire or will the powers and may regard these worldly powers to be of no important worth, but whether he desires them or not, they must be there. So this is the conclusion. Of course, he has elaborated that, but I don't have time to go further. So he's saying that it must come to a realized person, or in the stage of realization, these powers will come. That is the point. Now, this is the Swami Vivekananda also has said that this has been seen and this is it is happening, and there must be some expansion, and those expansion we find in the what is called Patanjali Yoga Sutra in the Book of Power. That means one can acquire power, samyama as it is called, by concentrating on different objects and different places, or their description, one can really acquire this power. And Swami Vivekananda actually gave one instance, one case, I remember in Almora. There is a story that he was, with him was Swami Shivananda. So one, what is called, visitor said that, well, what type of sadhu you are? Can you really read my mind? What is in my mind? So Swami Shivananda said, no, actually I don't have that type of power. We are not that type of sadhu. So while conversing with Swami Vivekananda, he said that this happened today. One person said that what type of sadhu you are? You cannot read what is in my mind. You can know what is in my mind. Then Swami Vivekananda immediately said that it is very simple. So he told in what way actually it can be done. And then next day, actually, Swami Shivananda, knowing the tricks, actually when he met that person, said that, will you like me tell you what is in your mind? So then, yes, sir. So he actually said that this you are thinking. And that person actually admitted that he was thinking that. The point is that there are methods or the ways by which actually one can do this type of, show this type of power. The point, it is a very simple thing, but the point is that this is possible. Now it is a little bit loud thinking in my case in today's age. Probably you are all techies in what is called in San Jose area, in the Bay Area. So it is like this. Suppose there is something like telepathy. You know, it is a power, manifestation of power, and it is described in Patanjali Yoga Sutra also. So what will happen? That means today we have to, what is called, we have cell phone and we call somebody, what is called, we dial, and then actually get connected, we talk. And suppose by power, that means by the development of meditation, quality of meditation becomes so that we become adept in concentration of mind in such a way that as soon as we think the person, actually, we get connected with that person. And it will be genuine. That means it is to be what is called by research or by practice, it has to be what is called made perfect. And in that way, it is taught, suppose, to a multitude of people. So naturally, your cell phone business will die. And that is good in a sense that what is called exploitation of nature will be decreased. That means the things that are required for making those things there, we are exploiting nature. So the point is that these powers in ancient times, they were there and they used to use them, or it was a natural thing. That means now the way we are talking and you are listening and you are understanding, this is a method. And the same way it will be a part of the our system, that we shall be able to talk to persons who are not in front of us, or if you want to see something, just think of that place, you will see that these things will become a part of our life by what is called practice. The way now we are practicing yoga to improve our health, the way we are what is called quality of the mind is being improved by doing meditation, probably someday, and probably it is good. That means to me, actually, I would like to see that stoppage of this exploitation of earth, as it is called. And that means we have exploited earth so much. If somehow or other it can be stopped, and probably this will be one of the ways by practice of meditation, if we really what is called master some of the powers which does not require exploitation of nature, that will be good for us. It is a loud thinking. Probably will be amused to listen to this type of suggestion, but still there is a possibility. That is the point. Today's thought, as it is called, and out of the box thought. This is an out of the box thought, but definitely some people might be interested and probably shall find out that we do not know what they are doing with meditation and practice of meditation, and ultimately we may find that these things are happening, and we should not be surprised. Probably it will be, you can utilize them for useful purposes. That is the point. So these are the thoughts that I had was in my mind. So I conclude my talk, and I thank you very much for your patience. And we shall meet again at the time of your annual meeting. Some of us will be meeting because Prasannatma has requested us to present in Zoom to attend your annual meeting. And thank you.